Harness the power, feel the rhythm, and join us as we dive into the world of carriage driving. This is Driving Forward. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Driving Forward. I'm your host, Amanda Balemans, and I can't tell you how excited I am to finally be bringing this podcast to life. If you're listening right now, thank you for joining me on this journey. It means a lot to know people out there who share my passion for other horses, for carriages, and for the amazing sport we all love, carriage driving. Now, since this is our very first episode, I wanted to keep things simple. I thought it would be good to start with an introduction. So I'll share a little bit about who I am, why I wanted to start this podcast, and what you can expect in the future. And most importantly, why carriage driving matters so much to me and to so many of us. So let's get started. I think every driver has their own story of how they first discovered carriage driving. Maybe it was something passed down through family. Maybe they saw a team of horses pulling a carriage and thought, I want to do that. For me, it's been a journey that started with the love of horses. Like many people, I first connected with horses just by being around them, watching them, learning about them, and eventually working with them. It started when I was very, very young. I'm pretty sure I came out into this world loving horses. But I used to spend a lot of time with my Auntie Twyla and her friend who had a team of horses. We used to go there all the time and spend lots of time doing sleigh rides, hanging out with them, and just being around them. I was so happy. The magical world of being in the winter and being on a sleigh ride and hearing the hooves and the jingle bells ring. I know it sounds cheesy, but it just made me love the sport. And unfortunately, I didn't start with carriage driving. Riding was where I started, like a lot of equestrians, but driving had something different, something that caught my imagination in the new way. The first time I ever sat behind a horse and harness, like I said, I remembered feeling nervous and excited. Nervous because you realize right away that driving isn't just like riding with wheels attached. It's its own skill with its own traditions, techniques, and challenges. And excited because there's something magical about holding those reins in your hands, hearing the harness jingling, the wheels rolling, and feeling connected to your horse in a completely different way. And once I experienced this, I was hooked. What really drew me in, though, was the partnership. Driving isn't just about the carriage or the competitions. It's about communication. It's about understanding your horse and building a trust so that when you're out there, whether it's a pleasure class, a combined driving event, or just a quiet drive through the countryside, you and your horse are working together as one team. Over time, I started to learn more. I spent more time with experienced drivers, studied equipment, I asked questions, and of course, I made plenty of mistakes along the way. And that's just something I wanted to emphasize in this podcast. Driving is a learning journey. None of us really stop learning, but every horse teaches us something new. Every drive gives us something new, a new perspective, and that's part of the beauty of the sport. So, why a podcast? And why now? Well, the idea for Driving Forward came from a simple thought. Carriage driving has many amazing stories, but not enough spaces where those stories are told. There are talented professional drivers, enthusiastic amateurs like myself, skilled trainers, and passionate hobbyists, all with knowledge and experiences worth sharing with the world. I wanted to create a space where we can bring those voices together. A space where we can talk about the joy of driving, the challenges, the funny moments we've all experienced, and some of the serious lessons and everything in between. This podcast is called Driving Forward for two reasons. One, because of course, driving forward is the heart of what we do with our horses. It's literally the first step. And two, because I believe the sport itself always is moving forward. We honor the traditions of the past, but also we embrace new ideas, better equipment, improved training methods, and above all else, a deeper focus on equestrian welfare. So, this podcast is about progress, it's about community, and it's about celebrating the many sides of carriage driving. All right, so let me give you a little preview of what's coming up in future episodes. First and foremost, we'll have interviews with drivers, obviously, and some will be professionals who compete in the highest levels of combined driving. Others will be recreational drivers who simply enjoy hitching up their horse and taking a relaxed drive through the countryside. Each person brings a different perspective. We'll also be talking about training tips and techniques. Things like how to introduce young horses to harness, how to improve your rein handling, how to prepare for specific types of classes, and how to troubleshoot common challenges. Another big focus will be equipment and safety. Carriage driving involves a lot of gear, and sometimes it can make you feel overwhelmed. Well, we'll be breaking down those essentials, talking about how to fit a harness properly, what makes a good carriage, how to make sure both horses and driver are safe at all times. Of course, horse care is at the center of everything. So we'll be exploring nutrition, conditioning, grooming, and the ways to keep your equine partners healthy and happy. And finally, we'll celebrate the community side of carriage driving. That includes clubs, fun drives, educational clinics, and the friendships that come from being part of this world. I'll be highlighting some of those events, sharing listener stories, and hopefully building connections across the driving community. So, whether you're listening to learn something new, to feel connected to the world of carriage driving, or to simply enjoy some horsey conversation, my goal is for you to leave each episode feeling inspired and informed. The different faces of carriage driving. Now, for listeners who might be new to carriage driving, I want to take a moment and explain the different aspects of the sport. First, we have pleasure driving. This is often where people start. It's about enjoying the experience, driving your horse or pony in harness, either at shows or simply for recreation. Pleasure classes might focus on turnout, manners, or an overall impression. Outside of the ring, it might just mean hitching up for a scenic drive. Then there's combined driving. This is the competitive side, and it's something sometimes called the equestrian version of a triathlon. Drivers compete in three phases. There's dressage, marathon, and cones. Each phase tests different skills, from precision and elegance to stamina and agility. Combined driving can be done with singles, pairs, teams, and it's a thrilling sport to watch and participate in. And of course, we can't forget about recreational driving. This is where a lot of pure fun happens. Trail drives, group picnics, parades, historical reenactments. There's so many ways people can enjoy their horses and harness outside of competition. Each of these areas brings something special to the table. Some drivers stick with one, others try them all. And that's one of the great things about carriage driving. It's flexible, inclusive, and adaptable to many different interests. Now, you might ask, why does carriage driving matter today? For me, the answer has several parts. First, it's about the partnership with the horses. Driving requires a high level of communication and trust. Horses need to learn to respond to voice, rein cues, and to stay calm in harness. It's a different skill set than riding, and equally as rewarding. Second, it's about history and tradition. Carriage driving connects us to the centuries of equestrian culture. Long before cars, horses and carriages were how people traveled, worked, and lived. Today, we preserve that heritage while adapting it for modern sport and recreation. Third, it's about community. Every time I've gone to a driving event, it's been struck by how I've been struck, sorry. I've been struck how welcoming people are. Drivers help each other, share advice, celebrate each other's successes. It's a sport that thrives on sportsmanship. And finally, it's a joy, a pure joy. There's nothing like hearing the rhythmic sound of hooves on the ground, the quiet power of your horse moving forward, and the peace of being out on a drive. Before I wrap up this first episode, I wanted to highlight something that will always be the core of this podcast: equine welfare. Our horses are partners, not tools. Everything we do, training, competing, or having fun, should prioritize their health, their safety, and happiness. We'll be talking about the best practices, humane training methods, and the ways to make sure our horses thrive in this sport. Along with welfare, this podcast is built on values of education and sportsmanship. We're here to learn, to share, and to support one another. That means respecting different levels of experience, welcoming newcomers, and keeping the focus on fair, fun participation. So, what's next, you say? In our upcoming episodes, you'll expect interviews from some fantastic drivers and their trainers. We'll be covering topics like how to get started in combined driving, how to select the right carriage for your horse, and tips for conditioning your equine partner. I'll also be sharing listener questions. So if there's something you always wanted to know, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'll have all the information of how you can in the podcast details. And that brings me to you, the listeners. I'd love for you to be a part of this journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to Driving Forward so you'll never miss an update. Share it with your friends, your club, or anyone who might be interested. If you'd like to connect, you can find me at Driving Forward Podcast at outlook.com. And again, I'll have it down in the podcast details so that you can find us easier. We're also starting our social media as well, so that will be updated within the next couple episodes. I'd also love to hear your stories, maybe even feature you on the show. This podcast isn't just about me. It's about all of us moving forward together in the sport we love. So that's the end of our very first episode. It's just a simple introduction to who I am, what this podcast is about, and what you can expect moving forward. Thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to share more episodes with you, to hear from you, and to grow this community together. Until next time, keep your line steady, enjoy the drive, and remember, keep driving forward. Thank you so much for joining me on this very first episode of Driving Forward. I'm so excited to have you all here at the start of this journey, and I can't wait to share more conversations and stories with you each week. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean the world if you could leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or even on YouTube. Your support helps more people discover the podcast and join our growing driving community. And don't forget, we'll be releasing a brand new episode every week. Next week, I'll be joined by my driving mentor and Nova Scotia's driving judge, Jillian Allen. We'll be diving into one of the most important topics in our sport: harnesses. Jillian will share her insights and how to choose the right harness for your horse and make sure it fits properly. You won't want to miss it. Until then, I'm your host, Amanda Balemans, and this has been Driving Forward. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you all next week.